Today we're going to talk about 4 steps to change your life. It sounds dramatic, but believe me, these steps actually work and helped me change my life dramatically this year. So it doesn't matter if you're wanting to make a small change or a massive change in your life, you can do it with these 4 steps. There are a lot of books written on this topic by people who have a lot more to say about it than I do, but we don't always have time for the long books. So here's a quick 10-minute video to help inspire you to make the changes you are looking for. Okay. Step 1 to change your life. Are you ready? Think outside the box. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like this, and I'm not naturally very good at it. Fortunately, I'm married to someone who does like it, and bonus, he's good at it. So that works out great for me. But really, what is great about it is that he inspires me to also think outside the box. Now, this means that you might have to get out of your comfort zone. Who does not like to get out of their comfort zone and do something new that makes them uncomfortable? I do not like that. That was a negative sentence and weirdly put, but I hope you know what I mean. I do not like feeling uncomfortable. I used to think that I hate change. No, it turns out I don't hate change. What I don't like is feeling uncomfortable. So, have you ever heard the phrase, in order to get what you've never had, you have to do something you've never done? I don't like doing things I've never done. I feel uncertain and unsure, and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. If you can get over yourself, if you can get past that mindset, then there is likely something you can do to make a change if you're willing to look and see what that might be and try it. You might have to make a big sacrifice. You might have to do something very different, right? But in order to get what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. So think outside the box and see where you can maybe be a little bit creative, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable. Okay. Step 2, be humble and willing to learn something new. This year, I noticed a huge need for families who wanted to learn how to homeschool, and I simultaneously saw how simplifying my own life and homeschool was impacting our entire family. And I could see how frazzled I had been for years and how frazzled so many of my acquaintances still were. This is what inspired me to start my business and become a homeschool consultant and mentor. I created a course, I created a website, I filed my LLC, I have a YouTube channel. I've created all of these things. A year ago, I had no idea how to do any of these technical things. So my point is that if you are willing to admit that there are some things you don't know that you wish you knew, you can use those tools to affect great change. Okay? You can talk to others who have done what you are trying to achieve. There are books, there are podcasts, there is the entire internet. It can be really hard to say, you know what? I don't know anything about this topic, but I'd really like to. And then learn about it, right? If you really want to affect change in your life, you must continue your education and become a lifelong learner. So first, think outside the box. Second, humble yourself and be willing to learn something new. Step 3, be willing to pivot. Does anyone else hear Ross Geller in their mind saying, pivot, pivot? Okay, once you start moving in the direction you want, you might find that it's not exactly as you expected it. This is where a lot of people give up. I want to challenge you to not step back and not give up. Just pivot, okay? You might need to change your course. Now, let me give you an illustration that might be a little bit out there, okay? If you have watched or read Lord of the Rings, think back to Frodo and Sam arriving at the Black Gate of Mordor. Picture this. Okay, they're at Mordor. There's the army going in through the Black Gate, and they think, this is the only way. This is the way into Mordor. We have to do it. We're doomed, but we got to go, right? Smeagol stops them and says, no. There's another way. Now, they could have forced what wasn't working and been captured at the Black Gate, but they listened to Smeagol, they pivoted, and they went a new direction. Now, I hope your pivot does not lead you to a giant man-eating spider, but the illustration worked until that point. Okay, so remember our 3 steps. Now we're willing to pivot. We're going to change and be open and flexible. Maybe we need to try something else new. Maybe we need to humble ourselves again and learn something different. Okay, we're pivoting. And my hand looks gigantic. I'm sorry about that. And number 4, we have to make the tough choices. Remember, to get what you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And sometimes it's really tough and uncomfortable. I will give you an illustration from my own life. We used a specific homeschool program for 8 years. I'm sorry, 7 years. We used it for 7 years. And when we made this radical shift in our life, we stopped using that program. And we had a lot of friends who used it in a lot of different places. And it was a huge change. But you know what? I was stressed. My kids were stressed. We were no longer thriving. It was no longer working. We wanted a simpler life. We had so many activities, no more activities than the average American family. In fact, probably less. But it was so much that despite spending most of our time together as a homeschooling family, we felt like we weren't getting time together. It was rushing here, rushing there. Quick, get school done. We got to get there. We got to get here. No more. I didn't want that anymore. My kids didn't want that. My husband didn't want that. We weren't happy with that. We chose to homeschool so we could move life at our own pace. And here we were in the rat race. So we now feel free and light. We have the time and space for so many different things. We have the free time that we were looking for. Our lives are completely different, but it was a really tough choice. And as we reintroduced activities back into our family life, we took them one at a time and discussed as a family, how is this going to affect everyone? Because even when one person is in a sport or a club, it affects the entire family, right? Because that's time that is maybe being spent driving that child somewhere that isn't being spent with the other kids, or it's time not spent as a family, or it's meaning then Saturday mornings we go to the games. It just on and on. It's a spiraling effect. So even if one child is in one activity, it affects everyone in the family. Now, your kids' friends might take it personally. Your friends might take it personally. Hopefully, you have really good friends like I do who are supportive and say, you know what, you have to do what's best for your family and what's best for you and support you in that. And if you don't, they may come on board in the future, but you truly do need to make the tough choice and do what is best for your family. And if that's walking away from what you have been doing so you can pivot and try something new, then that's what you have to do. You can do this, my friend. It's not easy, but you can apply these 4 steps to change your life, making small changes or massive changes. It doesn't matter. The principles still apply. So I'm always here cheering you on. You can do it. Have a great day.